my colleagues behind me are here is to call attention to something that is very serious and threatens this country. The reason is on May 21st through May 30th, it's a possibility that this president will be giving away our sovereignty. It's a possibility that several agencies have been compromised by China, which they have. What TETROS has done is undermine not only the WHO, but every country that's a member. We sent out a letter on May 10th to Kevin McCarthy to defund, for the United States to defund the World Health Organization. We are now putting in roughly $700 million, which is unbelievable that this country's doing that. The reason is to call attention to it. The reason is to make sure this country is not undermined by what Joe Biden and his administration is doing. I've got Frank Gaffney, who I don't think has come yet, but if you want a good rundown of what the perils we're facing, you need to read this book. Frank was in the Reagan administration. He's a true patriot. And let me call on him to say a few words. And folks, we've got 18 House members that are going to speak. I'm going to ask for y'all to be under a minute and a half, and because I want everybody to be heard. Frank, would you come forward?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Congressman. Thanks to all of you, most especially thanks to all of you. The Chinese Communist Party runs the World Health Organization.
Speak up, Frank.
It runs the World Health Organization in furtherance of its long-standing objective of global governance. That's one world government. There's no room in the world government for the United States of America, certainly not the free America that we love. We've created a sovereignty coalition to fight against the World Health Organization's efforts to obtain global dominance through public health dominance. And we are very appreciative of you, Congressman Norman, most especially, for taking the lead, along with your colleagues, to get us out of the World Health Organization before it finishes off America. Thank you, sir.
I'd like to call on Dr. Ronnie Jackson. Ronnie, call after that. After you call on Chris Smith.
Yes, sir, thank you. Ronnie Jackson, 13th Congressional District of Texas. I'll be really brief here. I just want to say that, the World Health Organization is a corrupt organization. They're nothing more than a puppet for the Chinese government. We don't have to guess about that. We know that because we saw what happened shortly after COVID took place. We saw how they were complicit in trying to cover up what happened, how they stopped the flow of information. I'll tell you that the Biden administration, it boggles my mind. This is just another one of the many reasons that one of the many things that they've done to put America last and to make us part of some world governance that they see us being part of in the future. We are a sovereign country. No other country is going to tell us. Another country will not determine how, if, and when we can protect ourselves during a future pandemic. And no other country is going to use American taxpayer dollars as their piggy bank or their slush fund and spend it whenever and however they see fit. They've proven that they can't be trusted, and we should place no confidence in them. I was initially responsible in the last Congress for a bill called Protecting American Sovereignty Act that prohibited any American taxpayer dollars from being used in the so-called global pandemic treaty. That is something we should not be a part of. We should defund the WHO, and we should have nothing to do with them in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ronnie.
I'd like to call on Chris Smith now. Thank you.
Chris.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I say to my colleagues, Ralph, thank you so much for bringing us together. You know, on March 23rd, I asked Secretary of State Blinken and the House Foreign Affairs Committee about the Biden administration's push, and it's an aggressive push, to enter a binding international pandemic treaty that would cede American sovereignty to the World Health Organization. The Zero Draft WHO treaty, and there is a treaty here, and they're working on it, that Biden administration and others are pushing, starts off with very harsh criticism of the United States and said during the pandemic, COVID, we had a catastrophic failure in how we responded to it. Article 4 pays lip service to sovereignty and then completely overcomes that lip service by saying, quote, provided that activities within their jurisdiction or control do not cause damage to their people in other countries, which empowers WHO to step in and prescribe what each country would do. Article 10 of the treaty says the U.S. would be obligated to provide 20% of our medical supplies, including tests, vaccinations, and medications, to WHO. They say, we want it, we have to provide it. Blinken did not respond to my specific concerns. He said they're not working on a COVID treaty. Nobody asked them that. They're working on a so-called pandemic treaty. And again, we've got the draft right here. Last May, the Biden administration offered its own proposal granting new unilateral authority to WHO Director General Tedros, and I've known him for years. He used to be the head of the health for Ethiopia. He did an awful job and covered up a number of times on cholera while he's doing it and did it with COVID when he who got his job from Xi Jinping in China was giving all kinds of false information with regards to that pandemic. This is a treaty that must be stopped. I chair the Global Health, Global Human Rights Committee. We'll be doing a hearing on it.